Alright, we're still going, man. Let's load up another one. These have been pretty straightforward so far. I'm assuming that either this is just because it's been so late and everyone else has gone up, or I'm just getting pretty lucky with the matchups that I've been getting. But yeah, these are pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna try to figure out a way to get Neathauger up there and then let her tank the rest. I mean, that's the state that we are at in the game. Your tanks are now powerful enough to solo enemy teams, pretty much omni tank actually. And I don't even need Sita on this team. The only reason she's here is because this is actually just her team. So I'm just, Neathauger is a visitor. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw Neathauger up here, figure out a way to get her to take out Sigurd, and then that's pretty much it, because Neathauger, you know, is pretty much the anti-Nurgle unit. So that's not going to be a problem. Yeah. But yeah, Lyn pulled on the banner. I didn't discuss my pulls. Very, very, very good summons. I haven't had that much luck on the legendary banner in a long time. The only unit that I didn't get was Lyn. Well, I think that's a bit exaggeratory. I didn't get a bunch of units. I didn't get anyone off. Well, no, I got a Felix. And who was this? Felix? Someone else was there. But I know that I got a Felix. I got a Ather who seems to love me for some reason, and I love her because she's fantastic. Becky is amazing. I got Ather. I got... I didn't get Alphonse. I got Rune, which is great because I am trying to merge. I didn't get Rune actually. No, I did. I got Rune, I got Ather, which also I needed to merge there because minus attack was pain, man. It was really difficult. So I got Ather, and I got a couple other units that I needed for fodder. I got a couple more, what's her name? Brave Robin. Didn't get Bernie, which was unfortunate. I really wanted a Bernie, but it didn't happen. I did get someone off blue though. I don't remember who it was. I forget who's on the share. It wasn't
Where next?
Reagan. It was not Reagan. It was the other one. So yeah, I got that unit. And yeah, sparks for the new emblem mythic. Oh, Sigurd. Also, I needed the merge there for the dragon flowers specifically. So I got a bunch of dragon flowers to harvest, which is great. I got a bunch of calves that need dragon flowers. It's so weird. I don't really use calves that much, but I find myself always being short on calf flowers. So the calves that I do use, I really do invest into them, which is something that makes me so sad about yes. Brave Erica and what's his face? Jeez. Brave Seliph. Both of them are like, yeah, they just make me so sad. I've invested a ton into them, not merges, but just like fodder, and they're just not that great anymore. It makes me kind of sad, especially Seliph, because when he came out, he was such a menace, but Crom is, at this point, leaps and bounds better than Seliph. Like, Seliph does not even compare, and I don't think that's fair, since Seliph was the one that... Was Seliph first place or second place? I can't remember. I can't remember, but I feel like Seliph needed a bit more love. And I currently can't think of a way to make him better than what he currently is. I got momentum on him, Excel, and he just is not killing things, which sucks. The only idea that I can think of is to run him with an AoE, but then he's just imitating Sigurd, and you don't necessarily need that. So because Sigurd is already Sigurd, so I don't. Maybe it's not a bad thing, but I feel like you can get more out of that, you know. But in any case, needed the dragon flowers, so I got a bunch of those that I'm gonna, you know, complete. Get those there. And let's talk about Lyn herself some more. So yeah, definitely an interesting unit. I immediately thought was, man, she's gonna break the game, which a lot of people are pretty much saying that she already has done because of what she's capable of. I'm sure that you've all seen the triangle attack combinations with her, and the fact that she can hit 5 times in a row without even moving. You can build a team specifically around her, and she will solo the enemy team for you, especially if you have the safe defense. There's just no stopping her. Especially if you pair her with like Fallen Maria or any type of miracle support. Yeah, she's pretty much just gonna solo the enemy team for 3 turns, pretty much. And at that point, there's not much that the enemy can do. So I don't know, like what defense. And the thing that is most annoying to me in terms of just looking at it from a defensive standpoint, it's almost impossible to cover all of the spots that you need to cover in order to make your defense functional. Not even functional, in order to make your defense survive against that playstyle, because because of the range of Lynn and the specifications around who she can hit and who she can't hit, it feels like you almost have to run Lynn. If you're gonna miss a spot, if there's a spot on your defense that's not covered by far save, which is pretty much the most important save at this point, it kind of always has been, but it's definitely cemented now. Who do you put in that spot that isn't covered that's going to survive a quad hit from Lynn? Either you have to meet the speed check, or you're going to have to be red. Difficult things to do against this Lynn, because offense is always favored in terms of speed checks. It's so easy to bring units that can help you buff your speed. And then being red opens you up to so many melee threats that are blue, in particular Sigurd. So it's a difficult matchups in terms of, just triangle advantage there. Most red units aren't that great. I can't think of one aside from Ike that comes to mind that's just like stand out in terms of being a red infantry frontliner. I guess you could go with Fort Mortis or Hector in those roles, but the armor mobility is a pain to deal with. Felix is great, but he's just not tanky enough. So you don't have a lot of options really in terms of like leaving your front line open to range sniping from Lynn. You have to cover all of them with save. And there's, just positioning I find is very difficult around trying to survive against her and building a defense around that, because if someone is going to be open to either getting sniped from melee range or from Lynn's range. And it's a pain to think about, because I feel like it really restricts defense building. And it's going to be particularly annoying in Chaos Season, because, Jesus Christ. I don't even want to think about that right now. I'm pretty sure they'll release something that will help us out by then, but man.
Where next?
Yeah, it's a pain to build around, because someone is just always going to be exposed unless you're being really meticulous about your defensive build. This I do enjoy. I'm currently just swapping around her emblem ring just to see, different uses of it in terms of offense, just to see how the styles work. It's really interesting so far. Currently it's on Veil, but let's continue playing. I got one more. Okay, here's the final match for today. We're against no one. Cool. We're going to use the same team. And we're just going to send Nithauger up there yet again and have her do her thing. Man, she's just too strong. Like, when was the last time that you were able to do this with a armored unit, man? This is insane. And it's not like I'm giving her very much support. The only thing is really just Asker and Breath of Life. That's really the main thing. The rest of it, she's just doing it all on her own, man. She's really, really powerful. Insanely so, and rightfully so, because if she's going to be an offensive mythic, as I've said before, she needed to be this strong. Otherwise, she's just going to age out very, very quickly, kind of like what happened to Duo Byleth, how they just fell off, just off completely. So, yeah. Lynn is very difficult to build a defense around from both sides, offense and defense. When you're thinking about it in terms of how they're going to attack into your defense and how you're going to have your Lynn attack into the offense, it's usually pretty easy to bait her. And all you would need is someone with Hardy Bearing, because for defense, it's very difficult to fit someone like Fallen Maria in there, or let's say Ymir, because you're going to be lacking killing power. And then essentially your only nuke will be Lyn, and Lyn isn't killing everything. She has terrible matches into Hector, and terrible matchups into Formortis, and terrible bad matchups into Nidhogg as well. And of course, there's the Fiora matchup, which is essentially a speed check, which she should win most of the time, but then, you know, Hardy Bearing, that's also a thing. So it's kind of difficult to build around that. You really don't want to have a unit that's easily baitable on defense, because it means that your team will move in a way that you don't intend it to, unless you build around that fact, which I have been trying to do, and my god, it is difficult because the ranges are so spaced. To have your units from the back of the map get up there, the only one that can really do it consistently without a dance is Sigurd, unless you're going to have a bunch of Pathfinder, which is a possibility at this point. But it's just really hard to build around. I don't enjoy the unit selections that you have to go with in order to make it work. You're left with Sigurd, you pretty much have to run some type of Pathfinder to keep pace, which means that you're either looking at Knot or Dagger, or Pajaji, Beefcakes. So you pretty much have to run, three of those units on defense, or any one of those three units. Well, Sigurd is pretty much mandatory. I feel like if you're going to be using Lyn, you have to combo her with Sigurd, because no one else is getting there without Pathfinder. No one else is getting there. Or Felix to a lesser extent, you could say. But the problem with Felix is that he's not going to go first. Lyn is going to go first, whereas Sigurd can potentially rally and then get down there. Felix is going to wait until Lyn attacks before moving in, and you don't want that, because it means that if she's going to die, she's going to die, and then he goes in afterward, but you've already lost a unit, which is kind of like a disadvantage for the following turns. You want to keep that defensive or oppressive threat going. You don't want to give up units. It's just a waste of a unit to give up. I guess it's interesting counterplay in the fact that we'll have the defensive versions of the extra slot, the runes, whatever, at some point. So you can probably call in reinforcements, and then that's another that can potentially help you out with the range problem based off where you place that rune. And I feel like the best place to put it is always going to be somewhere up front, because, I mean, just to have a unit pop right in front of the enemy's team is always going to be beneficial to you, especially if they're camping and they're not looking to, attack. They're just sitting there waiting for you. And also, I guess the counterplay is interesting in the sense that if they've picked off all of your units by turn 3, if they don't take out the remaining units, you get that extra unit. It can be someone, particularly tanky, or someone that's good enough on their own. It has to be someone that's good enough on their own. Otherwise, what's the point? The unit will just get destroyed. So, I don't know. I guess there's going to be something there that we can play around, so that losing 6... How many units can you can lose? 1, 2, 3 units by turn 3, which leaves you with 4 pop-up, an extra 1 that's either 5 or 4, which is a huge... that's a lot of units to be down from 7. So I don't know, man, that's a huge disadvantage. So it's going to be interesting to see the interplay with that, and including Lyn as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Lyn can even be the unit that pops up. I think that's a good choice, because if she pops up on that turn, you can definitely pop your opponents. I think you should be twice, no? To kind of even out the playing field. But it's pretty much just how does your defense hold on until then, when it's pretty much free reign for the offense to attack into you.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been really tough trying to build around Lyn. I haven't really figured out the best team composition for her yet. I have an idea of what I want to do, at least for Light Dark season. I have an idea of what I want to do, but for Astra Anima season, it's very difficult, because Sigurd, Pathfinder, pretty much necessary, and it doesn't really work well with Ather, I want to say. Yeah, and also Freyr is a thing. You kind of need Freyr. Like, if you don't have Freyr, you've lost. Not because of Lyn, but because of Embla now, who is pretty much Lynn's best friend. Like, that's just the unit that you're going to be using with Lynn. I don't know, man. It's tough times. I'm excited, but also